Hello and welcome to the Divorced Dadvocate. I am Jude Sandoval, your host, and we are here today to assist fathers in sorting through their divorce and creating an amazing life for themselves and their children. I am just freshly back from fall break vacation, so I'm rearing to get back into our five-step series of the Dad's Guide to Divorce. We've talked about, actually, before we jump into that, I just want to give a couple of show notes and a couple of comments. Wanted to invite everybody to our Divorced Dads meetup group. I'll put the link down in the show notes so that you can just click on it and sign up for it. We've been getting some great turnout to it, and it's a fantastic place to connect with some other men that are either going through divorce or just post-divorce as well. We do some sharing time in it. It's kind of like a support group for divorcing or divorced fathers. We'll do some, potentially, depending upon the time that we have, some education as well, and it's 100% free. So click on there, sign up for it. I do have to limit it to a certain number of men, but we've been getting a good turnout, and it's only an hour. It's coming up this Saturday morning at 9 o'clock Mountain Standard Time. So invite you to do that. Also, the other show links and notes down in there are to some of the YouTube channels, as well as the podcasts, replays, depending upon which platform you're watching or listening to this on. So please go and subscribe to the channels, leave some comments, as well as some reviews for the podcast. It helps me immensely to do that and get out to more men. The podcast is growing every week. More and more people are tuning in, which I sincerely appreciate, so that we can reach more men. And if you know any men going through divorce or they're recently divorced, please share this with them. It just continues to help immensely. So thanks for all your support. So this week, let's see, actually last 3 weeks, we've been going through the Dad's Guide to Divorce. It's a 5-step process that I work with men who are currently going through divorce to help sort through it. The first week, we talked about creating a vision and direction for your life. I just want to recognize that if you're tuning into this right now, it may be a chaotic, difficult, challenging time that is very common for men during divorce, and it's a very uncomfortable time. I know that for me, during it, having all this doubt and uncertainty going on while the divorce is happening, not knowing if, when, and how you're going to see your children or how you're going to afford things. All of this stuff is very chaotic. And as men, we really want to have more order. It's just a masculine trait around what's going on in our lives. So that first step was a hugely critical one. And if you haven't gone through the whole podcast, I encourage you to go back and listen to it, because creating that vision and direction for men is critical, because part of our identity is drawn from what our mission is in life is and what our direction is. So that was week 1. Week 2 was strategizing your actions. So once you create your vision and direction, you're going to strategize your actions on that. I suggested a 3-step way in which to go through that. It was simple for setting your goals, working backwards from those goals and creating steps, and then creating the behaviors in order to implement those steps and refocusing those behaviors to strategize your actions. If you haven't listened to that, these all compound on each other. So please go back and listen to those. You'll definitely get something out of just listening today about optimizing your environment, because it's fantastic and critical for anything in your life. But if you want to work through this process, like when I'm working with clients or when I'm working with other men, that going through this step by step compounds upon each one of the steps. So go back and listen, or if you don't want to listen, you can go to medium.com, just look up the Divorced Dadvocate, and I've got each of these steps in written article form that you can read through as well or print out, and that might help as well. So then third step was upgrading your skills. Often after a certain period of time, our skills, just like anything, are not quite up to snuff or maybe outdated. So upgrading your skills, for me, it was going back to parenting class and learning better ways to parent kids as a single father. So that was one example of upgrading the skills that I had used and talked about. So then this week we are talking about step 4, which is optimizing your environment. Now, I found that this is probably I don't want to say easiest, but at least the easiest step in all 5 steps to quickly and easily implement, if you will, if that makes sense. So it's not necessarily easy to do because it takes thought process and it takes, deciding what you need to do and then optimizing your environment. But at least it's something that we have control over. So like I said, when we're going through this process, it is a lot of stuff is out of our control. So we don't have any control of what the outcome will be in court. We don't have control over a lot of things, but this step is one that is very, very easy for us to control because we can make the determination of what we want to control in our environment. There's a book by Benjamin Harding. You hear me talk about him quite a bit. He's a psychologist that does a lot of work around creating a better psychology, creating better behaviors in working towards and implementing your goals. So he has a book called Willpower Doesn't Work, and he has a quote that says, "You shape the garden of your mind by planting specific things from your environment, such as the books you read, experiences you have, and people you surround yourself with." So by controlling our environment, we then are able, so then based upon that quote and that philosophy, we're able to eliminate our need to depend upon willpower. So you hear a lot and you hear often, well, just power through it and you've got the willpower and you can do it. And that is just a philosophy that absolutely does not work because willpower doesn't work. We have a finite amount of willpower every day. Willpower takes energy. And as you know, we have a finite amount of energy in any given day, considering what we're going through at the moment, challenges in just parenting, balancing work, balancing everything we're doing. So I don't know about you, but by the end of the day, by the time it's bedtime, if I've exerted myself and I've put in all of my effort throughout a day, I am just exhausted and done, and my energy is gone. And my daughters know that, come 9 o'clock, that is daddy's time to just decompress. Parenting is basically done. I'm like, all right, kids, if you're not in bed and you're not asleep, then, you're on your own because daddy is just, powered down and that's it. There's no more energy left in the battery. It's time to relax and recharge and go to sleep. So, you have that finite amount of energy, and willpower takes energy. So what do I mean by controlling your environment based upon this philosophy of willpower doesn't work? Let me just first review for you quickly what my vision, what I created for my vision was, and that was to be a heart-centered, available father who is always present. And my goal was to be mentally, emotionally, physically, and spiritually present during each moment of my parenting time. So that was a vision, that was my vision, and that was my one of my specific goals that I had created after my divorce. So based upon that, and I've shared this previously, that in order to be present with my daughters during all my parenting time, I needed to get more physically fit. So I'm going to give you an example now of what I mean by controlling your environment. So I felt the need that I needed to get much more physically fit because in order to be present, I needed to make sure that I wasn't sick, that I wasn't injured, that I wasn't always dealing or having some kind of ailment that was pulling my my awareness and my presence away, thinking and worrying and bothering with that, so that I could be present with them. So in order to get more physically fit, I committed to the goal of working out 6 days a week for at least 30 minutes a day. Now, you know, with all of what we've got going on with kids and work and all the other things, that carving out 30 minutes takes very specific and thoughtful scheduling in your day. So for me, it was only going to happen if I got up earlier in the day, before the kids are awake in the morning. During this COVID stuff, I've actually worked them into the routines of working out, and they get up and work out with me most of the time. Some of the time they don't. But I needed to get up before them. I need to get up at the beginning of my day in order to get this half-hour workout in. Now, I was not accustomed to getting up so early. I'm not by nature a morning person, so I needed to learn to train myself to get up. So I needed to figure out a way to optimize my environment in order to create this opportunity to get up, get out of bed, and actually get to my workout. So a couple of things. One of the things that I did to optimize my environment was, in order to ensure that I actually got my butt out of bed, because it's easy to just set the alarm, set snooze, and then you lay there for an hour, you fall back asleep, and then you wouldn't get out of bed. So I optimized my environment. I made sure that my alarm was across the room, so that when it went off in the morning, it was going to annoy the everlasting crap out of me until I got my butt out of bed, went over, and turned it off. In doing so, once I got out of that nice, warm little cocoon of a bed and went and turned that off and was annoyed by the alarm, there was no going back to sleep for me. I was up. I may as well do my workout. I've optimized my environment. I've not created any need for willpower to force myself to get out of bed, to force myself not to snooze anymore. My environment was optimized to just go and get up and do it. A couple of the other things I do, these are little smaller things that make it a little bit easier, but still, it's creating this optimal environment for you to be ready. I've got the DVD, and so I've been doing during COVID, instead of the gym going to instead of going to the gym doing DVDs, I've got the DVD in the DVD player ready to go. So I flip on the TV and it's there, it's ready to go. Something else that I did is I've got all my workout clothes laid out the night before. So once I drag my butt out to turn that alarm off, my clothes are sitting right there. So I don't have to sort through my drawers. I don't have to do anything. I just put them on, put the shoes on, put the hat on, and then I'm walking down the stairs. The DVD's ready to go. My water bottle's right there, ready to go. I've got no excuses to get it done. And I've just created this optimal environment for me to be successful. So I don't have any willpower around having to do anything. So, the willpower takes energy, like I said. So instead of using that energy to power myself to get out of bed, to find my clothes, to get the DVD and to create that environment, I've already created that environment. I've made it so conducive and easy for me to just jump in there. So now I'm conserving energy, right? I'm conserving energy for positive things, my workout. I can now utilize that energy for positive things and utilize it for the rest of my day, positive things. So it's a mindset of, instead of using that energy towards stuff that's going to be detrimental or drawing away from your goals and what you want, you're able to utilize that towards positive things by optimizing your environment. Let's see. Another thing was, on the same note of becoming more physically fit, I also needed to create a better environment around my diet. And it wasn't so much my diet, because I eat and I have eaten well for a while, but it was controlling the snacking. All right, so the confession is that I like sweets, and I like to snack right before bed. And I don't know, it's something that I've somehow, some reward system I've wired into my brain that I've had to rewire rewire the neurons out of my head to not do that. So in order to optimize my environment, make sure that I'm not snacking right before bed, I made sure that every time I go to the grocery store, I absolutely, positively do not have any sweet snacks in my house. And so, and it's effective. I had a friend come over the other day that needed something sweet because low blood sugar and whatnot. And I literally was scouring my pantry in my house, and I could not find even a stick of gum or anything with sugar in it that was anywhere present. So I know that I've done a good job with that, but so, and I can't tell you the amount of times that I'll be in the evening, right before bed, reading or relaxing, listening to music or whatever I might be doing just before bed, and get up and walk to the pantry. I mean, this happened for, God, I don't know, months before I finally my brain stopped saying, okay, go find something, go look at something. So now finally my brain's rewired to not have that thought process and that reward system. It's not to say I don't still try to go find it. And then I'll tell you, if we do have something or somebody brings something over and it's in the fridge, man, it's then I've got to use the willpower. So I know that I'm using that willpower towards something that otherwise could be used for a positive. So that's just the two examples of how I optimize my environment in order to not have to expend energy on willpower. And I know you can do that too. I want to share a few other examples as well, because Benjamin Hardy talks about. Well, actually, there's another quote that I like also from Dr. Marshall Goldsmith, and it's, if we do not create and control our environment creates and controls us. So that goes to this whole thing too, and so you can take this to other places in your life as well. I'll give you some other examples that I utilize, some other places where I control my environment so that my environment is not controlling me. And one of those is I only listen to positive and inspirational music. And this ensures for me that I will always have a balanced mindset. So I don't have any negative input. So if you're controlling this input, right, you're controlling the input, you're going to have a better opportunity at a more positive output. So control that input, the environment around you. So I have only inspirational, positive music that's coming in. So I'm not feeling or having negative or detrimental vibes coming through. Another one is I turn off, and I can't tell you, I heard this a long time, and it's been a long time since I've done this, so it's just automatic now. Turn off all news and media sources, because their whole hook and bait is fear mongering, and it's a subconscious way in which they hook people in order to look and click on what they want or watch what they want. Turn it all off. And so what I do is I just source all of my media when I want to and where I want to. And I can't tell you how that has changed my mindset around stuff, so that I'm not falling into the trap of this whole negative fear mongering that goes on with the media. Another one that I do for my health and wellness is I sleep in complete darkness, and that allows me to get a really fantastic amount of sleep. So if you'll notice, all these are separate. So all these are based upon still based upon the goal that I created to create to be mentally, emotionally, physically, and spiritually available to my daughters and present all of the time. So I've created goals based upon those, goals based upon each one of those things. Some of this is spiritual, some of this is physical. So some of these things are the things that I've worked in implementing towards those goals. So like the sleep one is making sure that I get enough sleep. And what I did is I looked at the best ways to get good sleep every night and how to work towards that. And so one of the things in optimizing my environment is making sure that my room, they say that you need to sleep in 100% darkness in order to get a good night's sleep. So one of the things that I do is I sleep in absolute darkness. So that controls my environment. So I'm not pushing against an environment that is not conducive to my best sleep. And I get really great sleep most every night. Last one is, so for me spiritually, I need to feel connected to something that is higher than myself. So I have spiritual artifacts around my home that allow me to connect with a higher source. Whatever that higher source may or may be for you. That's not necessarily religious, but it could be anything for me. It's different artifacts that remind me of a higher source. So that goes to my spiritual, the physical I talked about, and mental with the music. So all of these, I've worked backwards. I've worked through all of the steps in order to get to this part. Okay, and these are all just different examples within the mental, emotional, physical, and spiritual parts that I talked about that I utilize in optimizing my environment. So there are many, many more, and you will have many, many more. And what I do suggest is so for me, this has been a work in progress over many, many years. My friends, what I'm sharing with you with this 5-step process, I did not know and I did not have implemented when I was going through divorce or even shortly after divorce. This has been many, many years of figuring out, refocusing, and learning these 5 steps. And that's why I'm sharing with them now, because now I've implemented all this stuff slowly. So each one of these things that I share with you is just one small part that then has become a lifestyle for me. It's become a lifestyle change after creating the habit after 21 days, and after 90 days, it becoming a lifestyle change. So it just becomes automatic. So what I do encourage you is don't try to do 10 things all at once. Just take the one thing. If the one thing is as simple, like my example of physical fitness, if it's as simple, it's just trying to wake up early, not even working out, just waking up early, then start with that. Just baby steps. Wake up early, and maybe that's wake up a half hour earlier for a while until you can do that, and then maybe a half hour early. Just take baby steps until you can do that, but optimize your environment for your success. So that's it. I know you can do it. This is one of the easier ones. Hey, there's lots of stuff we don't have control over right now during divorce and right after divorce, but this is one that you can control. You can control your environment right now, and it will empower you. And once you have success with this, you're going to feel that it's going to compound upon one and then another and then another. And then eventually you're going to see your vision and your direction starting to take shape. So I'm proud of the work that you're doing. I sincerely appreciate that you're here today. I'm glad that this one's a little bit easier. Next week's going to be a little more challenging because that's mastering our psychology. And God knows I don't have my psychology mastered by any means, even close, but it's a work in progress and it's a little bit more challenging. But we'll get through it. I'm proud of the work you're doing. Please help me out. And also, the other thing I wanted to also say is, hey, if you need somebody to talk to, I've got free 30-minute consultations anytime. You can utilize this once a quarter. Just go to the divorcedadvocate.com. I've got my schedule right in there. Click on contact/schedule on that page. You can go in there. You'll sync right into my phone immediately, and we'll schedule a free 30-minute session. Go through what you're needing and talk about maybe one of these 3 steps or one of these 5 steps, and just utilize it. All of the show notes below have some other resources. I'll put those resources to Benjamin Hardy's book in there as well. It's a really good read. I have not read it, but I have read, I've watched a ton of his stuff. You can find his stuff on YouTube as well. He's a fantastic resource too. So please also subscribe to my YouTube channel. That will help me immensely, as well as leave a review on any one of the different podcast platforms that you might be reading. go to the divorcedadvocate.com. There's also a blog. There's other resources there as well. And hopefully I'll see you and meet you on the meetup this weekend on Saturday. That's down below as well. Register there. So thank you. Please keep up the good work. I'm proud of the work that you're doing. You're creating an amazing life for yourself and also for your children. Thank you.